Have you ever wanted to put yourself out there and be the news? Hi, I'm Paula for Rock Your Life TV, and if you ever thought about, really getting out into the spotlight to give yourself some visibility, to share your message, personally or professionally, I've got you lined up today with my guest, Jill Lublin. She is a total PR rock star. She has some proven secrets that will have you understand what the media outlets really are looking for. And when you finish watching us, head over to pauladandrea.com/RYLTV, get a free gift and get on the list, because every guest that I have is putting a spotlight in some area of your life so that you can get out and rock your life. Now, in this segment, PR Superstar Jill Lublin will have you rethinking everything that you know or think you know about publicity. She's going to be doling out gems from her best-selling book, Guerrilla Publicity, and she has some really powerful strategies for you to get your name from unknown to newsworthy in practically no time whatsoever. Jill will also help you shatter the misconceptions that publicity is expensive. She will share what the media outlets want and also provide you with short-term, doable, free, and low-cost tactics that will boost your visibility. Jill is a 3-time best-selling author of Guerrilla Publicity, Get Noticed, Get Referrals, and Networking Magic. She is an international speaker, and she speaks to over 200 engagements per year. That is a lot of speaking, and I've seen her in action. She totally rocks. She's an audience favorite. She's very lively, and she's very interactive, so she brings all of that really great personality into her keynote speeches, seminars, and special programs. She has been recognized for publicity and networking from such luminaries as ABC, NBC, CBS, New York Times, Entrepreneur Magazine, Fortune Small Business. I mean, she's just got a long list of accolades. She is the person that you want to hear from about how to get visible and how to get yourself in the news. Here is PR superstar Jill Lublin. Thanks so much for being with us today, Jill.
Oh, I'm delighted. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have seen you in action. I've seen you at a couple of events, and then we were actually at an event together a couple of months ago, and we had a chance to catch up and get to know one another a little bit more. And I just love your energy and what's behind you as you get out and deliver some really awesome content for people to get visible, because it isn't easy for a lot of people to actually step up, get in the spotlight, and get some visibility for themselves. And it's like one of those things for entrepreneurs, small business owners, even anybody that's trying to get themselves out there with a product or a message. They just kind of never get there because of that fear that holds them back. What have you found is maybe your top 3 suggestions to really blast through any fear about getting visible and just putting yourself out there and doing it?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because for 2014 I have a new program I'm going to launch called Get Your Voice Heard. And part of that is I've been looking at it because I work with thousands of people, is that a lot of people are a little afraid. I get that. I think we're all afraid. It's human. It's human to feel a little bit of fear. But here's the good news about the brain as I understand it. Brain doesn't know the difference between excitement and nervousness. So for me, one of the things I do, and I'm going to share this, and I think it's a great tip for all people, is that when I'm feeling nervous, and I do, then I say, I am so excited, because the brain doesn't know the difference. It's the same vibration, it's the same energy, it's the same feeling. So I just switch the words and tell me that I'm excited, not afraid, right? Big energy.
Mm-hmm.
That fun, big difference, big energy shift, and it makes a world of difference. So that's number 1, is change the words for yourself and say it to yourself so that you feel it, so that you know it. And then I have other little things, like I center myself and I pray and I take a moment so that I am centered. I am in the room first, you know. I have all kinds of little rituals I do that are just for me. And, you know, it helps set the room. It helps set me in the center of the room so that I can lead with as much confidence as possible. And like everything, you know, we all have different kinds of days and different things that are going on. So find for you what works for you, you know, certain rituals, certain ways you want to do things. I always say a little prayer, whatever works for you to take away, well, let me just say it's getting yourself out of the way, right? It's getting ourselves out of the way so that your message can really come through. Because what I know is that people are passionate about their message. That's what I want to focus on and for you to show through and shine through. The other stuff is just stuff, you know, it's human and it's part of who we are and what makes you probably unique and good at what you do. So that's number two. The other thing is, you know, it's interesting because I didn't realize how afraid most people really were to kind of put themselves out there. And, you know, I guess for me, it's been a lot of practice, practice, practice. So I'll share that too. I mean, it's practice, practice, practice. Having a script that you know you can say that feels good, that you can say no matter how you feel is really good. So I think those kinds of tips work very, very well.
Thanks so much, Jill, because you know, and it's so funny that you say that I love your new message for 2014. I had started off in 2013. My message was rock the higher vibe, and I'm still going at, you know, moving into 2014 with that, but also helping people get in tip-top vibrational shape. So I love that you started that off right into, you know, your first suggestion, because it really is a vibration. It's like, you know, those emotions come up, and you got to choose which one, you know, do I want to be in, and it is a choice to do that. The other thing that you brought up, and I just wanted to add a little bit of clarity for it, if you would, of what it means for, in your second suggestion, it was to, you know, be the energy that walks in the room. Just like really, you know, I loved your suggestions to pull in, to get yourself centered. But tell us how important it is for you to be the person to open up that energy within the room.
Well, listen, if you're the one being interviewed, if you're the one speaking, if it's your presentation, you're in charge of the room. That means you control the energy of the room. That means you control the vibe in the room. That means you're the one who sets the pace, who sets the tone. I spray mists, I do aromatherapy, I go to different corners of the room. You know, it's called you must be present in the room. I make sure I'm early, and you know, it's funny because sometimes, like when I'm teaching my publicity course, if other people arrive before me, I've had to kick them out of the room. I'm like, I'm sorry. Leave the room because I have to set the room. And you know, in certain cases, obviously I may not, but I'm just saying I feel strongly about you are the, we'll call it master of your room. Like when you're being interviewed, you're the master of your interview, right? You have to deliver some main points. You have to get out there. You have to rock it. Same thing when you're in a room, when you're at an event. You know, it's your responsibility to be the highest energy you can, the one who people like to come to, the one who feels good that when people are around you. That's how I walk in my world. It's like I am the light. I'm going to be the light. I'm going to connect with people. I'm a connector, and I walk with that space and also a confidence in who I am. That doesn't mean I don't have my days where I just want to cry or throw my hands up, you know, just like everybody. But I have learned, and part of it, honestly, Paula, is it's a learning and a training. I have trained myself. I've been trained by great mentors and coaches. I invest in myself. I stay in training. Life is a marathon, and you got to stay in training.
I love that. I love that you still do that, and you know, and I always love when you know, when my guests bring this up, because you know, people are looking and they're going, oh, this person is accomplished. They've been doing it forever, and you know, they're all set. And the truth of the matter is that you're always, you know, going after your personal best. You know, and I love that. I love that you do it, and I love that you brought it up. Who are some of the people that, you know, that you've learned from? Who were some of your mentors getting into the you know, speaking world? And also, what was it like? Like, what was that I know there are a lot of men that are speakers, and I know you've been doing it for a little while. So what have you seen? How was it when you were getting in, and what do you see changing right now?
Which question would you like me to answer first? Because those are...
I'd say start off with, tell us who you've been mentored by, who like you started off with, like who are some of your heroes and the people that you learned from, and then what was it like for you to, first start off when you first started your speaking engagements, and how have you seen it progress to where it is now, where we are in 2014?
Beautiful. Well, Oprah Winfrey is one of my heroes. She hasn't been my mentor, unfortunately. I'm working on it, but
Okay, good for you.
I watch her. I watch her show. I didn't take client appointments at 4 o'clock every day so I could watch her show. Why? Because I love her, because I love her style, her energy. I love how she interviews people. I love how she takes control, by the way, of her TV show, and, when she had her 1-hour show, and even her show now. I love how the woman's a pioneer and a difference maker. I love how she's committed to her spiritual growth in her life and others, and making a difference for others. So she is one of my heroes, and I've been watching her and learning from her and following her consistently. Then in the real world of coaches and mentors, I've taken a lot of speaking trainings. I'm a member, for instance, of National Speakers Association, and I've learned a lot through that organization, through the people who are part of it. And then some of my also coaches include Mark LeBlanc, who actually was president of National Speakers Association, and a wonderful business coach and a wonderful person. I've had the joy of working with him for, gosh, would you believe we're going on, I think, 11 years now. And I've been working with James Malinchuk, who's an incredible coach and a wonderful mentor, and I've learned so much from, and been very blessed to work with him. I worked with Laurel Langmeyer, who is an incredible speaker and presenter and great in the world of money, and I've learned so much from her. And then I've had, let me just think of, then I've had my, what I call spiritual teachers. See, I really think it's important that we have coaches in our life. So, I have business coaches, I have spiritual coaches, I have life coaches. I have different ones at different times, depending on what's going on in my life for me. But one thing I'm always committed to is continual spiritual growth. I've been working with a man named Bill Bauman, who's amazing, for over 5 years. And one of my best friends, who's a best-selling author, who I won't name right in this moment, but she's pretty darn famous, and she recommended him to me. He's somebody that most people wouldn't know, much to my chagrin, but I'm working on it, though, Paul. I'm working on it. And the point is that he's very profound and very powerful, and that I know I've become more of me by working with him, but because of me working on me. One thing I've learned is you don't give up your power to anyone. I mean, you are powerful. Each one of us, we have within us tremendous power, tremendous messages, and that's what's always really moved me with my own message, is to help messengers get their message out, and I'm a messenger of that, So I would tell you that I've always invested in myself and always stayed very focused on I guess performing well is kind of a funny way to say it, but staying in I like the marathon of life, right? Because if you look at it in sports, great performers have coaches, all of them. Great athletes have great coaches, and I've always known that for me in my life, I had to have great coaches. I started in something called the Entrepreneurial Edge so many years ago, I don't even remember. And that was amazing. I've really been blessed to have some amazing coaches in my life, mentors, people who I admire, who I model, who I esteem to be even 1/10 of who they present themselves in the world. So I'm very blessed that way. And
I love that.
And I stay in action, Paula. You'll see me at events because I'm there learning.
Absolutely, and not only yes, because you do attend events, and I mean alone that you're 200 speaking engagements a year over two. I mean, that is a lot. It's a lot of traveling, and it's a lot of putting yourself out there. Plus, you get unbelievable exposure. While you're waiting to do your thing. I know you got your pull in and get your energy ready, but you're learning all the way around just on a regular basis. I love the well-roundedness and what you just shared about, really it's about, it's about personal best. It's about always, being in stride with life. And the way that you're going to do it, it's part of, the show is for people to rock their life, and that's exactly what it is. It's like, for one thing that isn't going to work, you've got 10 other things that you can try that will work, and it's really about just finding about what resonates for you.
Right. And
so that you can get in that tip-top vibrational shape, so that you can have, relationship wealth, you can have emotional wealth, you can have financial wealth, you can have social wealth. All of these things are just there, and it's really about you putting yourself in the spotlight to be the news for yourself, and then put it out there into the world. So.
Exactly. Well, I learned a very interesting lesson one time. Jack Canfield was actually speaking, and he's, Mr. Chicken Soup for the Soul. And we were both speaking at a conference, and Jack did his piece. Now, most speakers would typically leave. No, Jack stayed around, and then I came up, and there's Jack in the back of the room taking notes, sitting, listening carefully, coming up to me afterwards and talking to me and interacting with me. We've been friends ever since. We always have a nice connection when we see each other. He's on my books, and he's endorsed my books and quoted. And what I'm saying is, he was in the room learning. Now, Jack didn't need to be in the room learning. By that time, he probably sold 80 million books. He knows how to get publicity, but he's a smart man, and I learned from him about that, like stay in the room. But guess what? This is about life. And that's not to say, you have to be in the room all the time or like every minute of your life. I just think it's really important to be a constant learner is what I'll call it, and invest in yourself consistently. And so I do walk my talk. I practice what I preach. I do the best I can to always keep learning, keep growing, and stay investing in myself with different coaches and different events and places and spaces where I can enlarge and expand my circle. I'm a connector, Paula. That's part of who I am, and I love it. And so I know that I have to be in certain places to, shall we say, fulfill that.
Sure, absolutely, and it's part of what you do, and I love. This is fantastic information that you're sharing. I love your approach to what you do. It's really you're a great role model, and sharing wonderful information for people is habits of success are really about what you do on your own on a daily basis, the discipline of, eating well, about resting well, about, putting yourself out there, putting yourself around people who support you. All of that goes into everything that you do. And I know at the beginning, I did say that you're going to jump in and share some really great tactics to get some publicity. And I know that you're always, because you're in all of these spaces, you're always learning more. So probably even from the last time that I heard you deliver, you've probably got some new ins and outs about what the media world is really looking for, about some of the either free, low-cost tactics that somebody can use to just start at that even beginner intermediate level to really put themselves out there and be the news.
Oh, you got it. And then later we can talk about being the only woman on multiple stages as I was growing. But I want to just share a number of tactics with people because, frankly, and I said it to you, that I am a messenger of messengers. And what I know is that all of you watching this, listening, have a message in you. And so my question is, what is the problem that you're solving out there? That's the first question to ask. What's your message? What's your message? And a great way to think about that is, what is the problem out there? And then think of it like when the media interviews people, what they care about is that you're an expert who can solve people's problems. So here's the deal, and Paula, gosh, everybody does this. They're talking about us, me, us, we, look at us, woo. I'm beating my chest if you can't tell. Woo, look at us. So the point stop beating your own drum and talk to people about what it is they can do. Now, you need to make sure that you've been set up to be the expert. Like Paula read my bio so that you understand that there's some practical, real world, real experience I have, and that I'm credible to talk to you. However, what I want to say is publicity is one of the most powerful strategies to drive your profits, to create more prospects, to create your credibility and your visibility so that other people care about you, and most importantly, they call you first. And so I think that's a really big thing, is being really clear about your message. What is it you want to say? Most importantly, what problem are you solving out there? So let me give you a great example. A consulting client of mine yesterday, actually, she's a counselor, and she helps addicts. She also helps people who've gotten in crisis and have life crisis, and people who get divorced. So, we'll call them life-changing situations.
Sure.
Well, yes, just a few, right?
Yeah, just a few challenges.
And when we were working on her press release and how to get her message out, what I found with her, like most people, is she goes on and on and on, and that she gave too much information that people didn't want to know and don't have the time to absorb. I mean, let's face it, Paula, most people are doing way too long of even videos. If you look at most media interviews, they are 3 to 6 minutes long. A new project working on Mystic Messages, it's going to be 2-minute videos. 2 minutes. That's it. I figure everybody's got 2 minutes. And yep. I was in Australia recently, and I was talking to this woman, and I said, let me just ask you, on YouTube, how long do you tune in for? And she said, well, let me just say, if anything's over 9 minutes, I won't even look at it. I'm like, oh my God, 9 minutes? Because a lot of people are doing 30 minutes and 27 minutes, and most TV shows are 30 minutes long. That's about right. So what I learned from that, and just what I intuitively knew anyway, because I already know that most good media interviews, when you're just being featured on the major affiliates, are 3 to 6 minutes long. So think about that, everyone, 3 to 6 minutes, and most news pieces are being delivered to you in about 1.5-minute segments. I mean, that's the what do we call it, the attention span of our society today. So, hey, if you can't fight them, join them.
That's right. Everybody wants to be bottom lined.
That's right. And I would just tell you, for most of you, you got to be thinking quicker sound bites. That's my next point to you. Quicker sound bites. I mean, you got to get this out in a simple, easy way. I talk to people about having what I like to call an ooh-ah factor. Like, get it out. Who are you? Why should they care? And I like to refer to publicity as the I've heard of you somewhere syndrome. These are fun ways that you can start having people remember you. So for instance, when I speak, and I will run into somebody and they'll go, oh, I love that speech, or I came to your publicity course, and I'll say, great, can I just ask you, what do you remember? And I like to see what pieces they remember. And funny enough, they usually always remember my 3 main points, which are my main points about publicity, about the creating your ooh-ah factor, about creating the I've heard of you somewhere syndrome. Isn't that interesting? And so I want you to start asking people, what are they remembering about your main point, not what are you trying to teach them?
Got that. That's awesome. That's powerful. I have a friend of mine, I don't know if you know, Chris Makel coaching. She's always saying, it's not about you. And I think, as I was getting into, doing more coaching and out of fitness stuff, is that, it really became about that. That message was so hammered in my head. And even as I do this, it really is about profiling, someone with you. You've got wonderful, information for people to really get out there and, help put them together and just celebrate who they are and rock out a good message. So I love those. And people will find you at jilllublin.com, right?
Yeah, that's one.
And is there those tips that you give? Is there anywhere that they can get that? Like if they signed up or anything for something that they could kind of like hone in on a few of the points that you brought up today?
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to give a free gift immediately where you can absolutely.
Great.
what I call 7 key points to powerful publicity. And what you do is you go to publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift. And I don't know if you can type that in or however you want to do it, but publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift, where I'm going to give you real world ways like we've been giving you with 7 key points for how to get your message out, and it really getting you influential so that your influence makes a radical difference.
Fantastic, and I will definitely put that in the copy for everywhere that this is going out, Jill. Which is it's a top box show, Roku, Apple TV, Samsung. It's on YouTube and everything. So that'll be right in there for you folks. That you'll be able to get a link to get into Jill's giveaway. So where I'd like to finish up with you today, Jill, is getting back to what was it like to be the only woman out on the stages for a period of time.
Oh boy. Well, and I wasn't necessarily the only woman, but let me say I've been one of the first, and I won't name some of the names, but you've heard of them. One of the big stages I was on was Tony Robbins, and I was so blessed to teach at Ultimate Business Mastery. Yeah, at Ultimate Business Mastery. And I was one of 24 speakers and the only woman. Now, it's not because there weren't great other women. So I went and bought a dress, and I figured, let's look like a woman here. But the point is that I've been a bit of a pioneer. I've been the one who's just kind of stayed in the game no matter what, and it hasn't been easy at times, Paula. There's a lot of ego in this business. There's a lot of tough little things to get through, I'll just say. And just staying in the game no matter what. And for me, it's been about being in my heart and staying there. That, yes, I've had to do a bit of a masculine, way at times. But I remember T. Harv Eker. I've been blessed to speak on his stages many times. And by the way, one of the first women on his stages. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And when he was introducing me, besides the wonderful accolades about the book, and he said, and here's one of the women with one of the biggest hearts. And then he introduced me. See, he saw that part of me. And I think you want to stay in business, you better have heart, courage, willingness, and, frankly, an ability and opportunity to give to others in the way that has been given to you. And I think for me, I've always worked on being a generous spirit, having a big heart, being a connector, and staying true to myself, no matter who says what and what says who and where I am, and and doing the best I can, like everybody. I mean, I make mistakes, but I try to do the best I can in all circumstances.
Awesome, and I think that you do. I mean, you're you're the real deal. And I love that that you share, the love, courage, and willingness that you've put yourself out there to create your legacy and pave the road for other people. I thank you so much for being here. Again, if you would please give us your main website and then also the gift link.
Sure. Well, you can check out JillLublin.com, and there's lots of L's in there, so I'm sure Paul will be spelling it out to you, but it's JILLLUB as in boy, LIN as in Nancy.com. That's JillLublin.com. And then the free gift that I invite you to is publicitycrashcourse.com/free gift. And there you get a real download of valuable publicity information that you can start using immediately.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jill. It was. I think we're going to have you back because I loved everything that you shared for viewers today to help them be in the news, to get visible and rock their life. So I thank everybody for watching, and remember to check out pauladandrea.com/RYLTV to get your free gift from me and stay on the list. So you can see Jill back in here and other guests that are going to help put the spotlight on your life so you can rock your life. Thanks so much for watching.